Gazette has uncovered how Buhari administration provided seed capital for Adamu Garba'S Crowee social media platform, hoping the firm would help the government dominate internal narratives while squaring an ardent challenge to Facebook and Twitter for the Nigerian audience. The Gazette obtained bank documents that carried a transfer of funds from the Central Bank of Nigeria to Mr. Garba'S IPI Solutions, a software engineering firm run by Mr. Garba. The company developed and deployed the Crowee social media app. The CBN on May 21st, 2019 transferred 136.8 million naira to Mr. Garba'S IPI Solutions. Documents said, marking one of several transfers that our sources said the Buhari regime advanced to Mr. Garba in the course of building the Crowee app. Although a major beneficiary of the social media storm that weakened the Jonathan administration and amplified the opposition's message ahead of the 2015 presidential election, Mr. Buhari has relentlessly rallied against the negative influence of social media since coming to power, after realizing the enormous control that social media has in shaping public opinion, even among citizens with little education or financial ability to be on the internet. Mr. Buhari started introducing different tactics to regulate online speech. A few months after assuming office in 2015, members of his ruling APC pushed a so-called social media bill that civil liberties campaigners said was too offensive to be accepted in a democratic system. The bill was summarily defeated, but the government pushed at least two other similar bills, including one that proposed death penalty for online speech, that were defeated under the Bukola Saraki-led parliament. But shortly after narrowly securing a second term, Mr. Buhari agreed with his aides that it was necessary to control social media. According to sources familiar with the matter, several ways to ensure that the government's message dominated the public space with little to no pushback from citizens were suggested. It was why the government was trying to find ways to control the media space that Adamu Garba'S company was picked as one of the promising businesses that could proffer solutions, an administration official said. The seriousness of controlling social media cannot be overplayed. Mr. Garba earned instant name recognition in 2018 after showing interest in running for president against Mr. Buhari. He summarily abandoned his campaign and became a recognizable voice in support of the president. The regime provided hundreds of millions to Mr. Garba's firm in anticipation that its Crowee platform would make a sufficient dent on the appeal of Facebook and Twitter. Official briefed on the matter said under a policy on anonymous sources. But 2 years after funding began and several months after Crowee was introduced to the public, the app has not appealed to Nigerians on the scale expected by both the regime and its developers. Only a few thousand users have signed up, and even the app has been riddled with complaints around its functionality. As part of efforts to give life to Crowee, Mr. Garba sought to push Twitter out of Nigeria, filing a lawsuit against the platform in the wake of last October's historic EndSARS campaign. More than any other social media rivals, Mr. Garba saw Twitter's presence in Nigeria as an existential threat to his own platform and assumed its exit would push Nigerians to his own platform by default. But his expectation was again dashed this month when his platform failed to pick up despite the government's ban on Twitter. Instead, Mr. Garba found his Crowee app removed from Google Play Store a week after the Twitter ban following a deluge of complaints from users. He said the app was taken down to upload but failed to explain why it was only Crowee that required being taken down before an update could be pushed to enhance user experience. The app was largely unstable that Mr. Buhari, his administration, officials and supporters had to move to Indian platform Crowee following their exit from Twitter earlier this month. The presidency did not return a request seeking comments from the Gazette about its dealings with Mr. Garba. Mr. Garba confirmed to the Gazette that he received funds from the government, but said it was one of several payments the government paid for a series of intervention projects his company executed for the government. He said, "We do projects and receive payments from the central bank." Mr. Garba said, "I think it is a project we did for the EFCC." He was silent on whether or not the projects were through competitive bidding in line with extant public procurement regulations. Crowee was 100% developed by us internally, Mr. Adamu added. "We are even looking for investors locally and internationally. We are looking for investors to further scale up and improve Crowee capacity." You see? Okay. No wonder Ima dey sweet. If they work for government, if they collect contracts, oh, they do a lot of work for government. Of course, now no wonder he should have expected, or one would have expected that oh, he's not doing this whole thing. Nothing goes for nothing. You see them? You see their life? But whether the government gave him money or he did not give him money, whatever that is not standing on the truth definitely will not last. Will not last. Any gang up against the masses that are already suffering, that are already down, it will not stand. It will not stand. That's just what I see to it. So once they begin to eat from the table, they will not be able to speak. They will not feel what people are feeling because they believe that they are on top. The rest people, you must agree to what the government is saying, whether it is convenient or not. But whatever government is going to be doing is, as far as Nigerian government is concerned, is for the politicians first. They are going to satisfy themselves. Whether it's going to favor the people at the end of the day is none of their business. So we cannot see the reason why the man has been jumping from pillar to post. And I said it, nothing goes for nothing. When animals like Buhari and Buhari'S who feel like they are wiser than others in Nigeria, we continue to expose to the world how foolish and selfish, self-righteous they actually are. In fact, whatsoever they want to do, they should do it fast because their expiring is nearer than they thought. Okay, what is wrong if the government should support a Nigeria to rival a foreign company? Please stop unnecessary criticism. But it shouldn't be done in a wrong way. And how many other private businesses have this government supported to stand, if not this one, that they have a bad intention? Let us stop supporting evil and corruption. Little wonder from nowhere he became the mouthpiece of the Fulanis. Exactly. Now I think he no longer have much to say suddenly. Apart from Moritala and Yaradua, other Hausa Fulanis decent administration are thieves and bigots. That is why you see these criminals shouting PMB, PMB. They are very corrupt. They cannot do anything without stealing from the commonwealth. That is what they mean by Nigeria is indivisible and cannot be restructured. You see that? A lot of people are beginning to get it. So guys, leave your comment down there below and let us have your take. Thank you.